Germany entered the Second World War with tanks that were, on paper, inferior to many of the machines France and Britain could field. Yet within 6 weeks, German armor had shattered the entire French army and pushed the British back into the sea at Dunkirk. The secret was never raw armor thickness or gun caliber. It was doctrine, radio communication, and audacity. But one tank on this list became so feared that Allied soldiers reported seeing it in numbers that vastly exceeded how many were actually ever built. A psychological weapon nearly as powerful as its cannon. And exactly how a single tank created that kind of legend is something we will reveal at the end of this video. This is the complete story of every tank Germany fielded during World War II. Panzer I, Germany's first mass-produced tank. The Panzer I was never intended as a genuine combat vehicle at all. Armed only with 2 machine guns and designed purely as a training platform to rebuild German armored expertise after the Treaty of Versailles had banned tank development entirely. Panzer II, a light tank armed with a small 20mm autocannon. The Panzer II formed a numerical backbone of early blitzkrieg formations simply because Germany had not yet produced enough of its heavier designs. A stopgap that revealed just how unprepared German industry truly was at the war's outset. Panzer 35, T, and 38. Captured Czechoslovak designs absorbed into German service after the annexation of Czechoslovakia. These tanks proved surprisingly effective during the invasions of Poland and France, and their chassis would later be repurposed extensively for German tank destroyer and self-propelled gun designs throughout the war. Panzer II, a primary German medium tank during the war's early years. The Panzer III underwent constant upgrades to its main gun and armor thickness. But by 1942, it had been fundamentally outclassed by Soviet armor, and production shifted entirely toward using its reliable chassis as the foundation for assault guns instead. Panzer IV, Germany's most produced tank of the entire war. The Panzer IV proved remarkably adaptable, receiving continuous armor and firepower, upgrades that kept it combat relevant from the invasion of Poland all the way through the final defense of Berlin. A testament to flexible engineering over flashy specifications. StuG III assault gun built on the reliable Panzer III chassis, but without a rotating turret. The StuG III became Germany's most produced armored fighting vehicle overall, offering powerful firepower at a fraction of the cost and production time of a full tank. And it destroyed more enemy tanks than any other single German armored vehicle type. Panzer V Panther developed as a direct response to the shock of encountering Soviet T-34 tanks. The Panther combined sloped armor with a devastatingly accurate high-velocity 75mm gun. And while early production models suffered serious mechanical reliability problems, refined versions became widely regarded as one of the most effective tank designs of the entire war. Panzer VI Tiger. This is the tank from the hook. Armed with a formidable 88mm gun capable of destroying Allied tanks at ranges where their own guns could barely scratch its thick frontal armor. The Tiger's reputation grew so large among Allied soldiers that any German tank sighting was frequently misreported as a Tiger, despite fewer than 1,400 ever being produced. A psychological weapon that outlived its actual battlefield numbers by decades in Allied wartime memory. Tiger II, King Tiger, an even more heavily armored successor to the original Tiger. The King Tiger mounted an even more powerful 88mm gun, capable of destroying any Allied tank at extreme range. But its enormous weight created severe mechanical strain and fuel consumption problems that Germany's collapsing wartime logistics simply could not adequately support. Marder tank destroyer series built on various captured and obsolete tank chassis fitted with powerful anti-tank guns. The Marder series provided German forces with mobile firepower to counter Soviet armor without requiring the resources of building entirely. New tank designs from scratch. Nashorn tank destroyer mounting. A devastating 88mm gun on a lightly armored open-top chassis. The Nashorn traded crew protection for the ability to destroy enemy tanks at extreme range. A doctrine that prioritized striking first and repositioning over surviving direct engagement. Panther widely regarded as one of the most effective tank destroyers of the entire war. The Panther combined the Panther's excellent sloped armor with an extremely powerful 88mm gun, giving it the ability to destroy virtually any Allied tank while presenting a genuinely difficult target to hit in return. Elephant tank destroyer built from the holes of the Porsche design that lost the competition to become the standard Tiger tank. The Elephant carried an enormously powerful gun, but suffered from poor mobility and a complete lack of secondary machine gun armament, leaving it dangerously vulnerable to enemy infantry at close range during the brutal fighting at Kursk. Tiger, the most heavily armored fighting vehicle to see combat during the war. The Tiger mounted a massive 128mm gun capable of destroying any Allied vehicle at almost any range. But its extreme weight left it slow, mechanically unreliable, and produced in numbers far too small to meaningfully affect the war's outcome. StuG, close support assault vehicle mounting a massive 380mm rocket mortar on a Tiger tank chassis. The StuG was designed to demolish fortified urban positions with a single devastating shot, though its extremely limited ammunition supply restricted it to very specific, narrow tactical roles. Panzer XXXVIII, TN, A, and late-war improvised variants. As Germany's tank production capacity collapsed under relentless Allied bombing in the war's final year, factories increasingly relied on simplified, improvised variants of existing designs, built with whatever materials and components remained available. A stark illustration of just how thoroughly Allied strategic bombing had crippled German industrial capacity. By 1945, German tank design throughout the war reflects a consistent philosophy: quality and tactical doctrine mattering more than sheer production volume. An approach that produced genuinely feared and effective machines like the Tiger and Panther, but one that ultimately could not compete against the overwhelming industrial output of the Soviet Union and the United States combined. From the training-only Panzer I to the desperate improvisations of 1945, German armor tells a story of brilliant engineering repeatedly undermined by a war of attrition that Germany's factories, regardless of the quality of what they produced, were never going to win.